Part 5. The Noodle Crutch. The Noodle Crutch cards contain 4 different versions of the common stone, plus 27 other stones. What's a stone? What's a noodle crutch? A stone is a geometric representation of a scale. Like the Ouroboros, a circle is produced when it eats its own tail. The mighty noodle crutch is a dynamic tool, providing a relative framework to interpret a given stone. It is a visual guide to help your noodle, your brain, to noodle, wander the jamscape. It is a map to help you sail the sonic seas musically. It is an organizational rack on which to hang musical concepts. It is a kinetic mandala for a visual and geometric understanding of modes and music theory in general. I believe it to be the historic philosopher's stone, allowing its beholder to transmute the musical lead of rote memorization into the musical gold of flow states initiated by a geometric understanding of musical forms. The power to use music magically. Leonardo da Vinci was an alchemist, a free thinker, an engineer, and a problem solver. Leonardo da Vinci, interested in the occult, traveling elite circles, not very keen on Christianity, in fact, thought to have been part of some secret societies. He loved to solve and create puzzles, and he loved music. He even wrote his notebooks backwards using a simple mirror cipher codifying his text. Most argue this is too easy to decipher, and thus not an attempt to code anything, but most likely because Leonardo da Vinci was left-handed, and as he wrote ink would spread across the paper, so he wanted to write in reverse to keep ink from spreading on the paper. Now that's an okay theory. Could have been a breadcrumb. Could have been something else. Hey, there might be other codes encoded. It is possible Leonardo da Vinci himself has deciphered the philosopher's stone, or belonged to some alchemical order that was teaching the philosopher's stone. He may have even left us a powerful tool for understanding music in his notes. Before we get into that, we must take a trip down the spiral tubes of the circle cipher, which will reveal the logic that leads us to the mighty noodle crutch. The traditional linear diagonal musical staircase is sucked into the apparatus. As it moves through, the cipher's tubes gently untwist the line back into its natural shape of a spiral. Looking closer, we see that there are 12 steps per flight, with the 13th step being the same note as the first, located directly above and below it. Musical octaves stack over and under one another, allowing us to treat them as each other. Now, picturing this spiral staircase directly from below, see it compress into a 2-dimensional dodecahedron, the chromatic stone, with 12 stations, one for each possible chromatic note. Place this chromatic dodecahedron on a clock face that has the 1 on the top instead of the 12. So the key or the tonic will be whichever note is aligned under the 1 at the top. Then it becomes the beginning and end point for a given scale or progression. It's a musical home base, the tonic throne. If we turn the chromatic stone so that the C is beneath the 1, then technically we will be in the key of C. If we draw a line to each of the 7 notes in the C major scale, it will produce this geometric shape, which I have good reason to believe is the real philosopher's stone from alchemical lore. To make of a man and a woman a circle, then a quadrangle. Out of this a triangle. Make again a circle, and you will have the stone of the wise. Thus is made the stone, which thou canst not discover unless you, through diligence, learn to understand this geometric teaching. From the famous alchemist Michael Myers' book. But as an effort to avoid megalomaniacish pretensions, and since it creates all the 7-tone scales which we are already familiar with, I think maybe we can just call this the common stone instead of the philosopher's stone. I call any shape made by applying the logic of a circle to a given scale a stone, and any stone can be placed upon the noodle crutch. The noodle crutch cards contain 4 5-tone stones, that's 1 mode for each corner, that's 20 modes there. 4 6-tone stones, that's 24 modes. 14 7-tone stones, that's 98 modes. And 6 8-tone stones, that's 48 modes. That's 28 separate stones with the cumulative 190 different modes between them. If you multiply that by the 12 possible keys, you get 2,280 scales compressed into the 8 Noodle Crutch cards. But don't despair, most of modern music uses only 2 or 3 corners of one stone, the common stone. There is undue confusion surrounding modes, but this is not unreasonable. The great Leonardo da Vinci is said to have remarked, "And you who think to reveal the figure of a man, or in our case music, in words, with his limbs arranged in their different attitudes, banish this idea from you, for the more minute your description, the more you will confuse the mind of the reader and lead him away from the thing being described. It is necessary for you to represent and to describe." So, if we then add in some strange Greek labels to the names of these modes, which we don't have an adequate visual representation, it further confuses the mind. But look, the common stone is a symmetrical, two-dimensional, geometric shape, with corners having fixed relative positions. It is, as Leonardo da Vinci suggests, a shape that works as a representation that you can use to relate these musical descriptions to. These corners each have their own name and musical personality. There is the Ionian mode, which most people know as the major scale, the Dorian mode, the Phrygian mode, the Lydian mode, the Mixolydian mode, the Aeolian mode, what most people call the minor scale, and the Locrian mode. So looking through culture for a shape, I stumbled across, you guessed it, Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. Vitruvius was a famous architect who presented the notion that the perfection of the human body can be described by a square and a circle. In the margins of da Vinci's famous drawing, he quotes Vitruvius backwards in Italian. But he breaks the rules that he quotes right there on the page. Perhaps instead it was a sneaky drawing of the philosopher's stone as described by the alchemists, and cleverly disguised as a rendition of the Vitruvian Man. Leonardo da Vinci had an alchemical tendency to secretly mix a balance of feminine into his art. The Last Supper features Mary sitting next to Jesus. The Mona Lisa might possibly be a self-portrait of Leonardo da Vinci's female shadow side. But even if I am wrong about this, his Vitruvian Man drawing makes a great mental image to help us to remember the shape of the common stone, providing a framework to remember the modes in relation to one another. So let's use da Vinci's drawing as an alternative linguistic model for the organization of the 7 modes of the common stone. And by the way, the Vitruvian Man, if you think of it as the philosopher's stone, there will be the man is in front and a super buffed out woman is behind the man in front. And it's actually 2 different people, not one man articulating, but a man in front and a woman in back, making it fit the description of a philosopher's stone drawing. Man in front on the square and woman behind the man on the circle. Ionian mode, or her right hand. Dorian mode, their heads. Phrygian mode, her left hand. Lydian mode, his left hand. Mixolydian mode, her left foot. Aeolian mode, her right foot. And the Locrian mode is his hand. Cut the Noodle Crutch cards up and build your own Noodle Crutch. There are a bunch of very cool uses for the Noodle Crutch. It is actually the most powerful part of this whole infinite songbook mess. The Noodle Crutch can be used to see the available tones in each mode and what notes in any key that they correspond to. It can be used to recognize interval distances from the tonic throne to any other note in that key. For example, you can find the 5th of an A sharp instantly by looking at the Noodle Crutch. To help compose intelligent movements through scales, helping to solo and create melodies in proper keys with ease. Or on the next level of the fractal, it can help you to compose intelligent movements through the keys using your new grasp of intervals. You can use it as a translator. For instance, if in the E Doric mode, you can play the Mixolydian pattern on an A string or the Aeolian pattern on a B string by rolling the stone. If you invert the stone and roll it down the fretboard of your mind, it will show you what notes you need to play. Another thing that you can do is players mount an uncommon stone to the noodle crutch and explore those modes and scales. It has been observed through history that each mode of a given scale can inspire different emotional reactions within ourselves and others. The tools to explore these musical wonders are now yours. For more information, visit infinitesongbook.com.
The Infinite Songbook is a game for normal people, like me and you. People with normal hairdos. No, actually, it's a game for just people like me with awesome hairdos. But if you're like me with an awesome hairdo, you might enjoy the Infinite Songbook.